about to go down.
Burning your ears with another all-killer and no-filler episode of the best motorsports radio on the planet. It's the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. With your host, Jim Beaver.
Sliding trophy trucks, jumping razors, and dropping the mic at events across the country.
Amy Hood.
What's up, guys? I'm a professional fun haver, dirt bike rider, and monster truck driver.
With support from Polaris RZR, General Tire, Subaru, and Dirtfish. Hang on tight, strap in, and get ready to smoke some tires and lay some roost. Here's the man who carries a steering wheel in one hand and a mic in the other. Jim Beaver.
What is going on? Another edition of the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR, on tap, also driven by General Tire, rolling on those Vision wheels. And you know what? We're doing all that in a Subaru while we're getting our training at Dirtfish. Wow, did I get everybody slid in there? Thank you guys for tuning in to the Down and Dirty Radio Show once again. This is a special episode. This is our mid-season recap. We're going to be talking about a bunch of stuff that has happened so far in 2018 and a bunch of stuff that's going to be happening in 2018 in the second half of the year, and some massive mega of mountainous proportions off-road news that just hit yesterday. We are going to be talking about that here in the very first segment. Not only that, but we are going to throw in some of our hand-picked favorite interviews we've done so far in 2018. Now, on the Project Action side of things, I did that, a week or two ago. Threw in, it was Dax Shepard, Hurricane Nita Strauss. Well, we're flipping the script here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, doing the motorsports side of things. We've got Rob Mack, my Vision Wheels teammate. Rob Mack is going to be on the line, his interview from earlier this year. We are going to have Greg Biffle, Mr. General Tire spokesperson, but, one of the baddest NASCAR drivers on the planet in the past, and Mr. Vaughn Gittin Jr. in a two-part interview that we did earlier this year as well. And that's one of my favorite interviews we've done in a long, long time. So those three interviews coming at you today, as well as some massive news coming up here shortly right after this commercial break. Trust me, you don't want to go anywhere today, and it's going to be one hell of a Down and Dirty Radio Show powered by Polaris RZR. Extreme performance, reliability, and the most fun you can have on four wheels? The Polaris RZR brings it to you. But you don't need to take my word for it. You can take theirs.
I'm Tanner Faust, and I choose the Polaris RZR because it's the most fun you can have with a steering wheel.
What's up? I'm Ronnie Renner, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the sickest, most reliable side-by-side on the planet.
What's up, everybody? Heavy D from Diesel Brothers. Listen, I'm on Team RZR because it's hands down the best piece of machinery on the planet.
I'm RJ Anderson, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the most fun, most capable machine.
Action sports stars, TV personalities, and some of the best race car drivers in the world all choose Polaris RZR because it's the ultimate combination of power, suspension, agility, and fun. Find out more information on the web at PolarisRZR.com or follow at Polaris RZR on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and use the hashtag RazorLife to share your story.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, a 268-horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine, rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305-horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, it's not a sibling rivalry, it's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob MacCachren, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out visionwheel.com or at Vision Wheel on social media to learn more. Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle and Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount. It's more than just a slogan. Anywhere is possible with General Tire. General Tire's Grabber X3 mud terrain tire offers aggressive styling and is engineered for durability with innovative performance features that are ready to carry you through extreme mud, dirt, and rock-covered terrain. For extreme traction that's ready for anything and rugged styling to match, look no further than the Grabber X3 from General Tire. Make your anywhere possible by visiting GeneralTire.com today. General Tire, aggressive styling with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012.
Like what you hear? Catch all the back episodes of the Down and Dirty Radio Show on Apple Podcast, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
All right. We are back here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Thanks to all of you who are tuning in live, tuning in on demand, tuning in national syndication. I don't care where you're getting us. We're actually going to be dropping these on Facebook now too, in its entirety. So maybe you guys will be tuning in there. But regardless, wherever you're tuning in, thank you. And if you guys haven't noticed yet, if you subscribe to our RSS feed on iTunes, you're getting them. If you check out the website regularly, you should be, because we drop a ton of motorsports news there. But you may have seen it on Facebook through the interwebs or on social media. But I've got something called the Daily Drop. 3 times a week I am dropping basically what amounts to 3, 4, 5, maybe 6-minute podcasts, and it's all the hard-hitting motorsport news. Yesterday we talked about some IndyCar stuff, some X Games news, TV ratings and motorsports. I know the next one we're obviously going to be talking about off-road, which we're talking about in the next segment. But if you just want some quick, hard-hitting headlines on motorsport, boom, Daily Drop is where it's at. Easiest way to get it, obviously, is following me on social media at JimBeaver15. But even easier than that, go subscribe on iTunes to our RSS feed, and you'll get not only this show, but the Daily Drop as well. So, makes it easy. So go over there, subscribe, and you'll make sure and get all of our content, not only this show, but the Daily Drops. So thanks to everybody who've done that. I'm having fun doing that. It actually keeps me on point. So, keeps you guys informed, keeps me on point. I've actually got to do a little bit of research and know what the heck is going on in motorsports. Not that I don't know, but I really, really have to do some studying. So I'm digging it. Speaking of what's happening in motorsports, do have to give a shout out to our good friends at Polaris Razor, dropping their 2019 lineup. You can check it out. UTV Underground's got the full story on the front page. Made a lot of refreshes on the basically the outside of the car. I know they've brought in Ride Command to some more stuff, Dynamics to some more stuff, but the cars, they took that Turbo S look and they applied it to the NA cars and things like that. So I'm digging it. I'm liking the new look of these new Polaris Razors. You can check it out over there at their website, Polaris Razors website, or UTV Underground. They get the full story there as well. So, if you are a UTV fan, man, it was Christmas for you Polaris fans last week. Me included. So, so talking about what has happened so far, what is happening in the future. Next segment, we'll talk to this massive off-road news. I don't know. I guess maybe we should just talk about the massive off-road news right now. We'll get into it. It's probably going to take this segment and some of the next segment. But before we get to that, I do have to give a shout-out. My boys Antron Brown and Steve Torrance, they're up at Dirtfish shredding right now. So make sure and check out Dirtfish's social media. And these two guys are clowns. Love them to death. They say that absolutely. You know what I mean? Because these guys are my brothers. But you get them together, and they're a couple clowns. I can only imagine what is happening up at Dirtfish right now as you're listening to this, with those two guys banging doors, sliding around in Subaru rally cars. It's got to be bananas. So I'm looking forward to seeing the social media that comes out of Dirtfish. And their accounts from their first experience in rally cars today. Both of them competent off-road drivers, though. I had them in Star Car, obviously, and they did really, really well. So anyways, big off-road news. Boom, coming out of nowhere yesterday. We all know King of the Hammers, one of the biggest off-road races on the planet, but it didn't have desert racing. It used, Ultra 4s, UTVs, it had King of the Motos. It was an off-road race, but it wasn't your traditional, quote, desert race. It combined desert elements, a little bit of short course elements, obviously a lot of rock crawling and things like that. It was a unique one-off event that was very, very different, and it's become huge, massive. There's this whole city out there in Johnson Valley that forms into January, beginning of February every year. Anyways, us desert racers, we were never able to take part. And, I know I'm in some private trophy truck groups and things like that. We've been talking for years about potentially having just a one-off event, no points, nothing, big purse, and, no points on the line, just everybody go and, a shootout for a victory, bragging rights and money. So I guess Ultra 4 and the Wasserman group kind of got together. They put this together. It's not a Best of the Desert event. It's not a score event. It's literally a one-off. It's called the Toyo Tires Desert Invitational, presented by Monster Energy, I believe, is the formal name. But anyways, it is going to be invite only. Top 30 trophy truck drivers in the world, and I guess there's some that are guys like B.J. Baldwin, who obviously he's got a Toyo and a Monster deal, both. He's invited Bryce Menzies, Robbie Gordon, Ron Mack. I mean, guys that should be there. They're the best, right? So I don't know how many of those, more info is going to come. I don't know how many of those are going to be there to start. I don't know how many are already committed. I'm looking at it right now. It's Rob Mack, Tava Vodoslo, Robbie Gordon, Andy McMillan, Bryce Menzies, B.J. Baldwin, Troy Herbst, Justin Lofton, Cameron Steele. So there is nine-ish slots of the 30 taking up. Big heavy hitters there too. It's a few missing, but for the most part, big heavy hitters, right? At some point, people that didn't get an automatic invite, because there's 50 to 60 trophy trucks currently, and I guess we got to use the term unlimited trucks. I guess because it's not it's not a score event, right? And it's not a Best of the Desert. You can't use trick truck, can't use trophy truck. We're going to call it unlimited truck, whatever. Anyways, the guys that weren't invited, that weren't handpicked or hand selected, they're going to have a last chance qualifying opportunity. So, if you're a guy who's got a trophy truck like me sitting in the garage, and it hasn't been raced in a year and a half because, I've been doing UTV stuff or whatever, I'll have a chance to pull that out, and I can go and I can try and qualify in if I'm fast enough to make the 30 and then, make the big show. So I think that's rad. I guess from what I understand, there is going to be a TV package of some sort. Obviously, with Ultra 4 and King of the Hammers, that they're going to live stream this thing. Dave Cole and the guys at Ultra 4, they do an amazing job with live stream. So that's a guaranteed. But the big news is here, $100,000 to first place. Second place takes home $15,000. Third place takes home $10,000. So, first through third, big money there. And I guess there's going to be a fastest lap time. I don't know. We don't know the distance of this. We don't know, loops, none of that. But it's going to be $3,750, I guess, for the fastest lap time of the day. So, there's that also. So this is going to be part of King of the Hammers week in 2019. I believe it's going to be Thursday, February 7th is going to be this race. I've already had a ton of people because the Parker 425 is the Saturday before that. What is that? What would that be? The second, third? I don't know. I don't have a calendar in front of me, but it's literally 4 days prior to this. And I've had a bunch of people say, hey, how is that the death of Parker? And Parker draws, 250 entries. 50 of those entries are trophy truck. So, you take away all the trophy trucks and you're still left with 200 entries. So Parker's not going away. You know what I mean? Are the unlimited vehicle counts going to be hurt? Absolutely. But, you take away even 30 of those 50, you're still left with 20 trophy trucks. So and still 200 other entries in all the other classes. So Parker's going to be fine. Are you going to see the big names like BJ or Bryce in Parker? Probably not. But a lot of these teams, like the Herbst, take the Herbst for instance, they've got multiple trucks. They'll probably run one at this Desert Invitational, and then they'll probably take one and run it at Parker before, and there's 4 days difference. These guys, demolish your truck. A lot of these guys have really good crews. They can quick do a switch, of trans, rear drivetrain, things like that, there you go. So, and this is one of those interesting ones too, since there's no points, things like that. If you have a problem early on, because the Mint's only a month later, you may see the guys, pull the plug early on and go, I'm running in 20th and I'm 2 hours down. What's the point in finishing? Boom, pull the plug, save the truck, go to the Mint in a month. So I don't know. We're going to talk more on this. I'm just getting rolling here. Talk more on this after the break here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Extreme performance, reliability, and the most fun you can have on four wheels? The Polaris RZR brings it to you. But you don't need to take my word for it. You can take theirs.
I'm Tanner Faust, and I choose the Polaris RZR because it's the most fun you can have with a steering wheel.
What's up? I'm Ronnie Renner, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the sickest, most reliable side-by-side on the planet.
What's up, everybody? Heavy D from Diesel Brothers. Listen, I'm on Team RZR because it's hands down the best piece of machinery on the planet.
I'm RJ Anderson, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the most fun, most capable machine.
Action sports stars, TV personalities, and some of the best race car drivers in the world all choose Polaris RZR because it's the ultimate combination of power, suspension, agility, and fun. Find out more information on the web at PolarisRZR.com or follow at Polaris RZR on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and use the hashtag RazorLife to share your story. Are you looking for a place to push yourself behind the wheel and see how your driving skills stack up? Dirtfish Rally School is that place. Located on 315 acres of pristine automotive playground at the foot of the Cascade Mountains in Snoqualmie, Washington, right outside of Seattle, Dirtfish Rally School is a one-of-a-kind place where everyone from first-time drivers to seasoned professionals like Bucky Lassick and Antoine Lestage can push themselves to their limit. Whether driving the high-performance, rally-prepped all-wheel drive Subaru Impreza STI is what you're looking for, or you'd rather hang it all out in the rear-wheel drive Subaru BRZs, Dirtfish Rally School has something for everyone. Classes are available from 2 hours to 3 full days and feature instructors with over 150 years of combined racing experience. Whether you're looking to become the best and get an edge on the competition, or just looking to freshen your skills behind the wheel, Dirtfish Rally School is the place to go. For more information on registering for classes, visit Dirtfish on the web at dirtfish.com, or to check out the latest happenings from Dirtfish, follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dirtfish Rally. For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, a 268 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine, rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, it's not a sibling rivalry, it's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
Thanks for tuning in to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, available live online, in syndication on networks across the U.S., and available internationally on the American Forces Network.
All right, and we are back here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Yeah, so we're talking about this Unlimited Desert Truck Race Invitational. I mean, we're kind of talking about the impact on Parker and a bunch of other stuff going on. Possible entry list, who we think's going to run. Like I said, there's a lot of these multi-truck teams, and I think that you're going to see them split. Like RPM, they're going to send Matney. But they've also got a second truck, right? So that one will probably be at Parker. I don't know. I see a mix of a bunch of of drivers doing 2 truck stuff. BJ's got 2 in the garage, or did he sell one? I don't know. So, that's kind of where my head's at on this. We're going to know a lot in the coming weeks. And as I just tweeted, I am reaching out to Ultra 4 Racing. We will see if we can get Dave Cole from Ultra 4, basically king of the Hammers. We're going to see if we can get him on the show. If not next week, the following week. But I will reach out. We'll try and get Mr. Dave Cole on the show. He can talk more on this. I've already talked to some of the people at Wasserman, and they're excited about this. But we're going to try and get Dave Cole on the show at some point in the next week or two. See if he can break everything down for us and bring us in the loop. But press release is up at ultra4racing.com. You can check it out there. I shared it in my Facebook group. I think it's facebook.com/group/JimBeaver15. It's like Jim Beaver's Action Motorsports Discussion. We talk all kinds of bananas in there. But anyways, it's up. So make sure and check all of that out and get in on it. And then so as this drops yesterday, right, we've got some other big news on the Mid 400. So now we've got this another marquee desert race. Plus, a month later, we've got the Mid 400. Just that little thing called the Mid 400. Anyways, that little thing called the Mid 400 just got a little bit bigger. And how do you get bigger when you're the Mid 400? Well, you add another day of racing. And that's just what my boys, the Martelli brothers, have done. They have added another day of racing. I think it's going to be Friday, March 8th, Saturday, March 9th, the big race. But the 8th, what they're doing is they're adding a completely new track, and it's going to be a motorcycle race, a lot of single track. And I don't know, obviously it's going to be around 400 miles, right? It's the Mid 400, you would hope. But they're bringing motorcycles back to, the biggest off-road race on the planet. So Mid 400, when it returns next year, March 4th through the 10th, that Friday is going to be a motorcycle race out in the desert. So, Martelli's have been saying for years, we are going to bring the bikes back, and that is exactly what they did. They are estimating, including motorcycles, 600 entries next year. Now, if you're like me and you've been down on Fremont and you've had to push a truck or a race car through there, you want to talk about bananas just trying to get through the chaos and the craziness that is Fremont Street. I don't know. It's a bit nuts. But yeah, that is definitely big news for us off-road people, off-road fans. If you're a dirt bike guy, you're loving it. I don't know. I'm sure there'll be a big purse for the bikes. It's probably going to get some motorcycle manufacturers involved. You wonder if maybe we'll see some one-offs, maybe like a return of a guy like Johnny Campbell or something. Like, boom, sign me up for that. Johnny going into the Hall of Fame this year, rightfully so, but still would love to see him on a bike again. So maybe that's one thing Mr. Johnny Campbell doesn't have. That's the hook right there. That's the hook. Johnny Campbell doesn't have a Mid 400 victory on his resume. Baja 1000s, plenty of them, right? Mid 400, he doesn't. Vegas to Reno, he's got those, but Mid 400, he doesn't. Maybe that's what gets Mr. Johnny Campbell out of retirement back on the bike. I don't know, but you would think if anything it would be something like this. So I don't know. Lots of excitement around off-road in the last couple of days, man. Woo! I know we don't. This is my bread and butter. We don't talk about it a ton on this show anymore. I mean, we do obviously, but not like we used to, just because we're covering so much else. But between the Unlimited Truck Desert Invitational at King of the Hammers Mid 400, and the Parker 425, it's gonna be a massive, massive start to 2019. The first 2 months are going to be pinned. There is no off season this year. So this is our recap show. Coming up, we've got Rob Mack, an interview I did with him earlier this year. We've got Greg Biffle, some Vaughn Gittin Jr. interviews, and a whole lot more. I will be tweeting throughout the interviews throughout the show at JimBeaver15. Hit me up on Twitter. It's the same tag on all social media, but the one I monitor while I'm on air is actually my Twitter account. So hit me up, there, chat with me. So kind of looking back, what we've learned so far, this is like a recap, and going into this year. I mean, this is like, we could recap this thing for 2 hours, just some bullet points that I've observed in my, I guess in my wanderings of motorsport this year. And, me alone, I've been to short course, I've been to desert, I've been to NHRA, I've been to IndyCar, I've been to IMSA, I've been to ARCA. Been to UTV races. Did I do snow bikes this year? I think I did last December, right? I don't know. It's been a wild one. Rally. I've been to rally this year. I don't know. I don't know if there's anybody that's been across the board as much as I have this year with different forms of motorsport, but yeah, it's bonkers. But I guess we'll start with off-road short course. And I guess the big thing we've learned in short course. One, we got some shredders coming up through mod carts and things like that. I mean, I look at kids like Mia Chapman, who's coming up, and a kid like Seth Quintero. Just these kids are the future, and they're so ridiculously good at such a young age. It's going to be exciting to watch the future of off-road. And then the off-road kids that are making the transition: Haley Deegan, Zane Smith, Riley Herbst, absolutely killing it in ARCA. So, the foundation these kids in karts and UTVs are getting, it's just mind-blowing, and it really has me excited for the future of the sport of off-road. That being said, looking at, short course as a whole, we learned Kyle LeDuc's human. He's still the best in the business as far as Pro 4 is concerned, but the dude is human, which is very exciting for everybody else. But he's had some struggles this year, and, as good as he is, as fast as trucks are, we have learned he is human. That being said, Mr. Carl Rennerzetter, who came out of retirement, did some one-offs for Bryce Menzies. He's still got it. That dude could still be racing at an elite level if he wanted to. But I think the biggest news, especially out of Pro 4, Pro 2 as well, RJ Anderson, this kid isn't all hype. He is the real deal. And I call him a kid. He's still young 20s. He's been around so long and won all these races, people, think he's older. Like, he is young. RJ Anderson is the real deal. So, looking at short course, I think those are some of the storylines. Trophy truck racing, the biggest thing there that I see, Rob Mack. Rob is still Rob. He's still the best in the business, period. Guys like, Bryce are good. Matney's good. A lot of guys are good. I would say right now, Jason Voss, this guy, he can win on, behind the wheel of anything. I'd love to see him in short course at some point. But in the desert, I'd say him and Rob Mack, these guys are and Andy McMillan are pretty much, they're the definition. Those guys they're the line. Those are the guys with the targets on their back. You got to beat them. And trophy truck racing, so ridiculously close right now. I don't think anybody could have predicted years ago that we would be seeing races, won by seconds. Just crazy. And four-wheel drives, they're coming in. They're here to stay. 3 to 5 years, every truck in the field will be four-wheel drive. Mark my word. It'll be one of those things where somebody thinks they can build a revolutionary two-wheel drive truck then that's lighter and all this other stuff that two-wheel drives. But I bet 3 to 5 years, trophy truck is all four-wheel drives. Almost guaranteed that is going to be happening. Other things, just notes here that I've witnessed so far. Rally cross. Rally, we had a split in rally. Entry numbers are surprisingly good for both Rally America and ARA, so that is good. I would say if they could somehow figure their stuff out and come back together, it would be the best thing for Rally. But we've got 2 national championships, and both of them actually have a lot of entries running with each. So props to them for being able to make a split work. Rallycross, on the other hand, with America's Rallycross, man, this is like I've said all along. This is kind of a gray year. Don't count this year towards don't look at the bigger picture by judge it on this year. I think 2019 is going to be the year for Rallycross and this new ARX. But with IMG and World RX supporting it, I think it's got a bright future. But I think we got to get through this year first. NHRA. Steve Torrance. You want to talk about NHRA? You got to talk about Steve Torrance. He is the man this year. Nobody's going to argue it. And Clay Milliken, my boy Clay, he's doing really, really well. And which is funny that NHRA, we've learned the smaller teams like Torrance And like Milliken, they can compete with the juggernauts like Schumacher. So that's pretty rad, on NHRA standards. We didn't even talk about Funny Car and some of the other stuff going on. But, it's, the smaller teams in NHRA still capable of taking those big W's and championships, and I think that's exciting. And then looking at IndyCar, Scott Dixon, still the best in the business. That guy can go anywhere. It's long been said he's the best driver in the world. They said if he would have had a seat at, say, Ferrari in a Formula One car, he'd be a world champion in F1. I don't think anybody debates that. He's still got, I'd say, 5 solid years left in his career, even in his upper 30s. It's going to be interesting to see when his contract ends where he goes. But he is still absolutely, the dude is he's the best in the business. But Alexander Rossi, he is the real deal as well, and we're going to have a shootout for the championship. So really excited to see Alexander Rossi come into his own in 2018. And I got to tell you, if he doesn't win the championship this year, 2019, he's definitely got to be the favorite going in. So that's kind of some of the stuff we've learned so far in motorsports this year. Looking forward to year end. We do have to take a hard break here. When we come back, we're going to be re-airing that interview with Rob MacCachren that I did earlier this year. So that is coming up right here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR, right after the break. Extreme performance, reliability, and the most fun you can have on 4 wheels? The Polaris RZR brings it to you. But you don't need to take my word for it. You can take theirs.
I'm Tanner Faust, and I choose the Polaris RZR because it's the most fun you can have with a steering wheel.
What's up? I'm Ronnie Renner, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the sickest, most reliable side-by-side on the planet.
What's up, everybody? Heavy D from Diesel Brothers. Listen, I'm on Team RZR because it's hands down the best piece of machinery on the planet.
I'm RJ Anderson, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the most fun, most capable machine.
Action sports stars, TV personalities, and some of the best race car drivers in the world all choose Polaris RZR because it's the ultimate combination of power, suspension, agility, and fun. Find out more information on the web at PolarisRZR.com or follow at Polaris RZR on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and use the hashtag RazorLife to share your story. For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. Since 1970, KC Highlights has been designing and manufacturing performance lighting for off-road and motorsports, beginning with the legendary Daylighter up until today's revolutionary Flex, Pod, and Pro 6 lighting systems. KC Highlights offers a full line of halogen, HID, and LED lighting solutions for your off-road vehicle. Looking for the best quality lighting? Looking for the brand champions choose? You're looking for KC Highlights. Find out more information at kchighlights.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KC Highlights. Hey, this is Jim Beaver, host of the Down and Dirty Radio Show. Getting down and dirty on the racetrack is all fun and games until it's time to get the dirt off. I know it all too well, which is why I partnered with MotoShield Pro, the leaders in nanotechnology solutions on the racetrack and in off-road to combat mud and dirt buildup on my vehicles. MotoShield Pro keeps us from taking unnecessary damage and spending extra energy on cleaning. No matter the weather or the surface, having proper protection on all my vehicles saves me plenty of reprep time in a sport where every second counts. Prep your vehicle like a pro. Learn more at MotoShieldPro.com.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, a 268 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine, rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, it's not a sibling rivalry. It's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
You're listening to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. All killer and no filler.
All right, welcome back here to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Right now, we're going to roll right into one of our first Best of 2018 interviews. This is one I did back in, I believe, March with Mr. Rob MacCachren. I'd like to welcome Rob MacCachren, Off-Road Hall of Famer, to the line. How's everything going, Rob?
It's good, Jim. How are you today?
Doing well, buddy. I was just talking about the Mint 400, man. I heard, last I heard count-wise, we're at 400 entries with 175 on the wait list. I mean, you're Las Vegas born and bred. That's a massive amount of people and spectators and everything else coming to the city of Las Vegas.
Yeah, it sure is. I obviously born here in Las Vegas. Used to go to the Mint 400 when my dad raced in the early 70s. And that's what I remember. I remember huge entries and just tons of people and a huge spectacle here in Las Vegas. And, Mad Media, the Martelli brothers, Best Desert, they've really been working on this race year after year, and it keeps growing and growing. And that's incredible. 475. There's a 400 maxed out, and then 175 on the waiting list. It's crazy. I think we really need multiple days of racing right now. There's 2 days or 2 races in the same day, but I think here in the future we might see multiple days of racing. I sure hope so.
Yeah, I could see almost, Parker, they do it over 2 different weekends, they've got 2 races on 2 weeks before the Parker 425 for UTVs, and then motorcycles and multiple UTV races. And then they've got the split. I could almost see that 2 days with 4 different, races actually happening at the Mint. I think it's getting big enough where it's really easy to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been saying my 2 cents to both the guys at Best in Desert and Matt and Josh Martelli. I really think we could have 2 weekends back to back. One weekend could be motorcycles, UTVs, like you say, vintage classes, things like that. We could have a week-long festivities leading up to the second weekend with the bigger trophy trucks and things like that. I think it's definitely doable. It's going to take some work, but I think with the growth of off-road racing and, like I said, everything that Mad Media and Best in Desert are doing, that it can happen. I'd love to, because, man, I get to race more. I'd love racing the UTV, getting one of those Polaris Razors and doing that, and then racing my trophy truck and maybe something else. If it's got wheels, I'd love to race. So hopefully they can work on that. I know it takes a lot of effort to make all that happen, but I definitely think that the Mint 400 can handle it. Especially saying, there's that many people on the waiting list. And, I've been listening and hearing from different people, some of them not in the race, and they're really bummed. And, I know talking to Donald at Best in Desert and Daryl Folks and Matt and Josh, that they want to try to do everything they can to get everybody in the race. But there are stipulations with BLM. There's timing, there's only so many hours in the day, things like that. So hopefully they can jump those hurdles here for the future, and we can all be racing more.
Yeah. Well, and talking about racing more, man, I'm just looking Mid 400's coming up. We're prepping the Razor Star Car for that, and and I'm looking at it going, we got a week and a half left, and it doesn't matter how much, how early you get your vehicle done. It's always something you're oh man, I wish I had an extra week. But I'm looking at your schedule. You've got the Mint 400, you've got the Lucas Opener, you've got San Felipe, man. You guys at MacCachren Motorsports, man, you have a stretch there you guys are pinned, Rob.
Yeah, absolutely. We started off the year in Parker, 425, doing pretty well. Last lap, we were leading, ended up in the dust, running into the back of somebody, just getting into them a little bit when they were stuck. So I got stuck, and it took us out of the hunt for the win. We're looking for redemption at the Mint. We won the Mint overall last year. It was my first overall at the Mint. Been leading many, many years. On the last lap and had issues, drive shaft failure, got a flat tire one year. We had a steering belt fall off another year. So, and then, like you said, moving into Lucas Oil Off-Road Racing the very next weekend after the Mint, racing there at Glen Helen, night racing, single night only, this year at Glen Helen. So that should be super exciting. And then it's only, I think, 3 or 4 weeks later we'll be in San Felipe. So my schedule, it is what I do. I love doing it, and when I have a couple weekends off without racing, the second weekend I'm scratching my head, itching to get racing again. So it's what we do. You know, we got, you know, six guys that work at the race shop in Southern California, getting everything ready. The Pro 2 is actually up here in Las Vegas where I live today on the chassis dyno at Kevin Croyer's. We'll be testing it on Thursday. Friday, the trophy truck will be up here in Vegas on the chassis dyno, and we'll be testing it on Friday afternoon, getting ready for the Mint. So, you know, we've got a system going. I've got great people that work on the trucks. We've got, you know, obviously great partners in our sponsors, you know, that help us out along the way, and we want nothing more 2018 to be a successful year and try to get some more wins and championships.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know you're running the full Lucas schedule. You're doing the full score and the full Best in the Desert schedule as well?
We are running the full Lucas series. You know, they're traveling. They're doing some new things this year. We're racing 5 of the events this year will be at night. So I think that'll help with the spectators, getting them out at night. So he's, you know, seems like the racers go a little more crazy at night. The trucks seem brighter, faster. So I'm excited about that. They're doing many different things, trying to get more fan interaction in the pits throughout this year. So we'll be doing the full Lucas series, and then as far as the trophy truck goes, in Best in Desert, we'll be racing, as I said already, we raced Parker, we'll race the Mint, we'll race Vegas to Reno, and then with the Score series, we'll be racing San Felipe, the Baja 500, and the Baja 1000 this year.
Nice. Well, and I gotta ask. I was back there at Crandon this past year, and I know BF Goodrich has a massive involvement. I mean, you walk around, and there's Rob MacCachren pictures hanging on the walls and things like that. I mean, I know it was really special this last year with Carl going back to Crandon, but I gotta ask, like that's as much your home as it is anybody's. I mean, any chance in the next couple of years we see you guys back at Crandon?
Yeah, we want to go every year, and at the beginning of the year we always lay down the schedule. See how many weeks we have in between races and see what's doable. We had planned to go there last year in 2017 and run the Pro 4, but the months, and especially the weeks leading up to it, we had some issues happening in short course, fell behind a little bit in the points, and we decided that the smart thing to do was to stay home and focus on trying to get championships in Lucas Oil and better opportunities for the trophy truck in the Desert Series. So we didn't go last year. I want to go every year. It's definitely an incredible place. Crandon, it's definitely one of my favorite short course tracks. I've been racing there, for a lot of years. Haven't been there though in the last 3 or 4 since we were racing back there. But I'd love to get back. It's always on the schedule. It's tentative this year. Kind of see how things go, and we'd love to be there. I know they're getting close to the 50th, and I love the people back there, Cliff Flannery and everybody at the track. They put on an awesome event. If you haven't seen that, it's really a bucket list type thing. If you're a fan of off-road racing at all, and anyone that's gone there, when they come home, racing or not, they can't stop talking about it. And when it comes up in a conversation, it always gets the spark of energy, and anyone and everyone that's ever gone really has a good time. It's cool. It's a great place to go visit and watch races.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's definitely a bucket list, whether you're racing or not. But I know another bucket list for a lot of people, and you've kind of dabbled in it the last couple of years. We're going to talk King of the Hammers real quick, man, because you threw that in the mix in between all this other stuff as well. I mean, I know you like a challenge, and it seems like whatever it is, you like to. I know you're getting involved in the UTV stuff as well. But I mean, how is King of the Hammers? Because that's a lot of this stuff between short course and desert. You can kind of adapt back and forth, but I mean, you throw the rocks in, and that's a complete different element. I mean, how has that been for you in this transition into doing some Ultra 4 stuff?
Yeah, the Ultra 4, Dave Cole, everybody that King of the Hammers event's an incredible thing. I was fortunate enough in 2010 to get the opportunity to go drive somebody's vehicle, and I became addicted. The first time we went out there to go test, I don't remember, jackhammer, sledgehammer, or something like that. It was my first rock crawling experience, and when we got in there, I'm like, you can't go that way. That's not passable. And they all chuckled and said, no, that's the way we go, and we're going to go that way. So, they showed me how to do it, and from that day, I dug it. I wanted to do it again. I've always wanted to put my own effort together and try to go win that King of the Hammer race, because it's for me, it seems so much harder to conquer, and especially win, let alone finish, than anything that I do. The Baja 1000 is tough, and an analogy that I say, the Baja 1000 has thousands of things that can reach out and grab you during the race. the King of the Hammers, their race has millions of things. To be at 5 miles an hour, and even less, trying to go up through a rock canyon when you're actually racing somebody door to door, side by side, and you have to have a lot of patience. You have to reel yourself back in. Normally, I'm used to, there's dust up there. Let's go, let's drive 110% and go try past that guy. At Hammers, if you do that, you're going to break your car. And some of the things you have to go up, or the rock canyons and the drops that you have to go down, they're like, you got to drop off a school bus, or you got to climb up over a school bus. And, so many people have gone and done it. And, when they come home, they have, again, same thing as Crandon. It brings a smile to your eye, to your mouth, and people can't stop talking about it. I know Johnny Greaves went this year with his son CJ in a UTV, and he was calling me a couple months out, and he'd known I'd been there and asking me some questions, and sometimes he asked some questions, I chuckle, and I like, you have no idea what you're gonna see and what you're gonna have to do. And then when he was home, and just a week ago or so, I was texting back and forth, and I said to him, I go, do you miss it yet? And he goes, absolutely. We talk about it every day. So that's another, bucket list event, whether it's to go watch or to go compete in. Every year it's growing. Dave Cole's done a tremendous job with that. Getting the publicity out there. It's crazy. I want to do it again. I've been fortunate enough to drive the last 2 years with Greg Adler. We finished both years, but, just out of the top 10. And I want to win that thing. Now I finished it. It took me till my third time driving on my own so I could finish the race. And I soloed, and we got 13th. But I'd love nothing more to go back and do that again and try to win it. It's definitely tough, though. That is no joke. King of the Hammer winner, that guy is a badass. And Jason Shear this year got it, and he's an incredible driver, and he's got an incredible rock crawler.
Yeah, for sure. And before we let you go, man, I know you've started to do a little bit more with Polaris RZR. I know you got a few of them in the garage. I see a little bit of branding on the trucks. How was your I guess journey into the RZR life, as they like to call it? I know you and I talked, I think, at the UTV Worlds last year. You were thinking about maybe building one for a few races and things like that. I mean, how's the Polaris RZR adventure been for you, Rob?
It's been really a lot of fun. Last year, winning the Mid 400, we were fortunate enough to win a RZR, a 2-seater, and we take that out and have a good time. I have a couple 4-seaters, and we go out with the girls and my son, and we do that. Got a lot of miles in them. Have a really lot of good times with them, and yes, it's definitely it's on my list to build one into a race car. Just haven't figured out the schedule. Being as busy as I am, you were alluding to earlier. I'm trying to build up RZRs now just to go out and have fun with, and just my time is so valuable, and not being able to get it done. But, I love racing those things. As far as bringing the family together, that's one thing I think it's really helped with us, giving us a time away from racing and actually still spending time out in the desert with the daughters and my son and having a good time.
Yeah, for sure. Well, good luck at the Mint this next week, buddy. I'll see you out there on Fremont Street, and let's here's hoping you can repeat as Mint 400 champ.
That's definitely the hope, and we'll have our Rockstar Energy Makita BF Goodrich Vision Wheel truck on display on Friday at Tech in the Vision Wheel booth. I'll be walking up and down, so stop by, say hi, and again, 3 bucket list things. You got Crandon, you got King of the Hammer, you got the Mint 400. Those are 3 of the biggest races that are all year. So please come check them out.
Absolutely, buddy. Thanks a lot, Rob, man, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, appreciate it. Take care, Jim.
Thanks, buddy. Always fun catching up with the legend Rob Mack, one of my favorite guys to get on. We can talk his NASCAR career that was very short, just old off-road, new off-road. I need to sit down and give him the full podcast treatment at some point. But we're going to take a short break, and we come back. We get some news bits in here and there, and then Greg Biffle coming up after the break. extreme performance, reliability, and the most fun you can have on four wheels? The Polaris RZR brings it to you. But you don't need to take my word for it. You can take theirs.
I'm Tanner Faust, and I choose the Polaris RZR because it's the most fun you can have with a steering wheel.
What's up? I'm Ronnie Renner, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the sickest, most reliable side-by-side on the planet.
What's up, everybody? Heavy D from Diesel Brothers. Listen, I'm on Team RZR because it's hands down the best piece of machinery on the planet.
I'm RJ Anderson, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the most fun, most capable machine.
Action sports stars, TV personalities, and some of the best race car drivers in the world all choose Polaris RZR because it's the ultimate combination of power, suspension, agility, and fun. Find out more information on the web at PolarisRZR.com or follow at Polaris RZR on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and use the hashtag RazorLife to share your story. Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle in Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount. Anywhere is possible. It's more than just a slogan. Anywhere is possible with General Tire's wide variety of tires for whatever it is that you drive. Whether you're looking for off-road capability balanced with impressive on-road performance or ultra-high performance offering all-season traction designed with a driving enthusiast in mind, General Tire has what you need to get where you're going. General Tire, providing anywhere is possible with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012.
Come to the island and rip it up this summer. Wakeboard Island. It's a skate park on water at Blue Water Resort and Casino. Check out the 2-tower cable system that pulls you and your board over the water. No boats to watch out for, no fumes. Wakeboard Island is open to all skill levels with an open center section for beginners and for trick riders, a double side kicker in a 60-foot flat box. Wakeboard Island, the best ride this side of the Rockies. Adjacent to the River's Edge Cantina at Blue Water Resort and Casino on the Colorado River in Parker, Arizona.
When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob MacCachren, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out visionwheel.com or at Vision Wheel on social media to learn more.
Want the latest from Jim Beaver and Amy Hood? Follow at Jim Beaver 15 and at Amy Hood 71 on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
All right, just done airing that Rob MacCachren interview that did back right around the Mint 400. Rob Mac, just I call him the living legend, but guy has accomplished more in off-road racing than I think anybody else at this point. I mean, just in short course, desert. Well over 200 wins. I mean, I think he's close to 250 at this point. Just the dude is remarkable. I mean, there was a point where he was running like 5 different series in one year. I think he was running like Torque, Lucas, Stadium Super Trucks, Best in the Desert, and Score. 5 series full time. Just bananas. Like I said, he raced a NASCAR truck at one point. He actually took a victory there, I think. Just crazy. So Rob Mack, always fun catching up with him. If you guys aren't already, make sure and go over to the website, downanddirtyshow.com. We've got a full slate of content over there. My buddy Chris Leone is dropping some amazing stuff. We did a feature piece on Steve Torrance a couple weeks ago that was great. Did really good numbers. This last week, something on Ryan Newman and in his mashup with MotoShield Pro there to Eldora. But not only that, we're just dropping all kinds of daily content there. From events coming up to what to watch on TV, and then we've got our daily drops. Those are there on the website as well as our RSS feed. So make sure and go over there and subscribe on iTunes to not only this show, which is run in conjunction with the daily drop. Same feed, but Go and subscribe to the Project Action feed as well. Different content coming over there on Project Action, but still a ton of good stuff and a ton of fun. And don't forget to give me a follow at JimBeaver15 on all social media or at Down and Dirty Show on Instagram. And we are going to take a short break, come back, kicking off hour number 2 here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty radio show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it, so when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our Razor vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of Razor vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a Razor 170 like me, take the entire family out in a Razor XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new Razor XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris Razor. Check out the full Polaris Razor lineup at Polaris.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor.
Thanks for tuning in to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, available live online, in syndication on networks across the U.S., and available internationally on the American Forces Network.
All right, and we are back here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Kicking off hour number 2. For those of you that are listening nationally, still kind of roundabout hour number 1 online. But thank you guys for tuning in once again. I am Jim Beaver. It's at JimBeaver15 on all forms of social media. And make sure and do all that fun stuff. Subscribe on iTunes and check out our website. We ran through all that right there a few minutes ago. So anyways, thank you guys once again. Hour number 2 coming up. We've got an interview with Greg Biffle, General Tire Ambassador. I did this one actually out at Charlotte Motor Speedway when I was on site for the ARCA race. And I don't know if you guys have been watching ARCA this year. I was never much of an ARCA fan until the past 2 years. But some of the talent coming up through there and off-road kids, man. Like I've said earlier, Zane Smith, Sheldon Creed, Riley Herbst. But then you've got Tony Bredinger and Natalie Decker, some female talent that's really, really, really good there. What General Tire's done with ARCA from a marketing standpoint and this breeding ground for these young, talented kids that we're going to see at the top levels of NASCAR in the next couple of years. It's crazy. These kids are super young, so talented. Sheldon Creed absolutely killing it in ARCA this year. But, it's pretty rad to see what's happening there. And anyways, I was out there at the General Tire 150, kind of one of their marquee events there at Charlotte for ARCA, and was able to catch up with Greg Biffle. I actually got to spend most of the General Tire 150 race with Biffle. And if you've never had the opportunity to have a NASCAR driver and an accomplished NASCAR driver stand next to you and watch a race and explain what's going on, I got to tell you, it'll blow your mind to know what's going on, like, behind the scenes. Like, it's just crazy. Like, strategy, what's happening in the pits, what the drivers are thinking on track, and being able to sit with Biffle and do that was crazy. So definitely one of those experiences I won't forget anytime soon. Hopefully it can happen again sometime soon again as well. But lots of fun there at Charlotte with Greg Biffle, and I think you'll see that in this interview. And then one of my favorite guests to have on, we have him on maybe once a year. It should be more, but Vaughn Gittin Jr., that's going to take up 2 parts here in hour number 2 as well. And that interview was so good. And I had to trim it by about 2 or 3 minutes because it ran over, but you guys are going to enjoy that. So that coming up here in hour number 2. We'll be back after this on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. You want extreme Extreme performance, reliability, and the most fun you can have on four wheels? The Polaris RZR brings it to you. But you don't need to take my word for it. You can take theirs.
I'm Tanner Faust, and I choose the Polaris RZR because it's the most fun you can have with a steering wheel.
What's up? I'm Ronnie Renner, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the sickest, most reliable side-by-side on the planet.
What's up, everybody? Heavy D from Diesel Brothers. Listen, I'm on Team RZR because it's hands down the best piece of machinery on the planet.
I'm RJ Anderson, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the most fun, most capable machine.
Action sports stars, TV personalities, and some of the best race car drivers in the world all choose Polaris RZR because it's the ultimate combination of power, suspension, agility, and fun. Find out more information on the web at PolarisRZR.com or follow at Polaris RZR on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and use the hashtag RazorLife to share your story. Whether you're looking for a tire that balances high performance responsiveness and traction in wet and light snow conditions, excellent handling and traction in wet and dry conditions, or a summer performance tire designed with the driving enthusiast in mind, General Tire has you covered. From the all-new G-Max RS to the Grabber ATX, no matter what you drive, General Tire will get you where you're going. Learn more at GeneralTire.com. General Tire, cruising with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, a 268 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine, rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, it's not a sibling rivalry, it's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle in Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
Come to the island and rip it up this summer. Wakeboard Island. It's a skate park on water at Blue Water Resort and Casino. Check out the 2-tower cable system that pulls you and your board over the water. No boats to watch out for, no fumes. Wakeboard Island is open to all skill levels with an open center section for beginners. And for trick riders, a double side kicker in a 60-foot flat box. Wakeboard Island, the best ride this side of the Rockies. Adjacent to the River's Edge Cantina at Blue Water Resort and Casino on the Colorado River in Parker, Arizona.
You're listening to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. All killer and no filler.
All right, we're back here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Right now, we're rolling right into an interview I did with Greg Biffle out at the General Tire ARCA 150. Tell us a little bit about your relationship with General Tire. I know I see you're in the red shirt. What are you doing with GT this year?
Well, we're doing a lot of fun things. General Tire wanted to spice it up a bit and kind of bring some of the fun back to the brand. So we've done some shoots. We were down in Louisiana, NOAA Motorsports Park, testing out we tested out the new RS tire down there and the off-road capabilities of the all-terrain tire. So we've had a lot of fun so far testing at my mountain property. We got a lot of on-road, off-road stuff done up there. So now I'm out here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway with the ARCA, General Tire 150, covering this for them, social media, doing those things, talking to these drivers, which I know a lot of them, and, just having fun so far.
Well, and that being said, I know this is a big one. General Tire called me a couple months back, said, hey, we want you to fly in. We're coming back to Charlotte. You've been around stock car racing your whole life. I mean, it's a pretty big deal for General Tire and ARCA to be back here at Charlotte.
Yeah, it really is. And this is this is sort of NASCAR's home, if you will. And so there's a lot of teams and a lot of series around here. And for ARCA to come back here to Charlotte Motor Speedway and General Tire racing here, it's exciting. And getting ready to qualify the Cup cars right now, so you're in front of a big audience. There's a lot of eyeballs here, and this is great exposure, and it's a great track to race on.
So I know, obviously, you got the relationship with General Tire. I got to ask you. We'll switch back talking stock cars in a minute, but I know you spend a lot of time out at Glamis. You do some stuff with Polaris Razors. I know, you've got a bit of the off-road bug. How often are you out at Glamis in the wintertime?
I live there in the wintertime, so I wish I could spend more time than I do. But I made about a dozen trips last year, about a week at a time. I really like that place, so spend a lot of time there. I need to come hang out with you on the hard pack a little bit. I play in the sand all the time. I hate the dust, so I stay away from the hard pack because the sand, there's no dust in my eyes, and I can see where the heck I'm going. But I enjoy. I got the AT tires on my UTV now, so I've been messing around, like I said, on my mountain property and off road out here. So.
That's what you're invited to the desert anytime, Aaron Parker. I mean, Robbie Gordon's got a place there. I've got my shop there. We go out all the time and have some fun. And yeah, if you're looking for a shake it up, man, we can get you in the desert.
I'm ready for it. I want to get out there and experience. I want to do some UTV racing and just kind of ease into it. So there's no ease into any kind of racing. So you get thrown in with the wolves, but I'll come out and do some of it.
Well, I know you guys, too, with Pace Off-Road, you guys started making some UTV parts. I mean, and I know talking with you earlier, kind of off the air, you said it was just something that, organically you kind of did. And, but tell us a little bit about that because, I mean, if you're starting to make parts for it, I mean, obviously, you're pretty deep in the industry.
Yeah, we really are. So we really started, I've built race cars since, I was old enough to weld. My parents owned a steel construction company, so I learned how to weld and fabricate when I was 10, 12 years old. So I've been, fabricating and building stuff since then. So when the UTV craze started coming in, Articat built their first machine. And, basically what we ended up doing was fixing the problems. So, we've got fabrication capabilities, and so they're bending A-frames, and they're doing this and doing that. And I had fun engineering a solution to a lot of the issues. And so a lot of the parts that we manufacture at Pace Off-Road is basically a fix to, some problem that the industry has. And, one is with the Polaris Razor or any of them is, people want to go bigger and bigger tires and wheels. We see these big, General tires on them. And so wheel bearings become an issue. And so we solved an issue with coming out with a big billet hub and a bigger wheel bearing and a bigger brake package, So we ended up building a lot of stuff like that out of necessity. And so we really have a odd product lineup, if you will, because we build kind of niche parts and pieces. We don't have a global, you can't come to us and buy a light bar and a roll cage and something else, but we can sell important parts for the vehicle that are high quality. And so we build stuff that's necessary.
So that being said, we're out here at Charlotte Motor Speedway again, General Tire ARCA 150. How is it you being back here? I mean, Cup qualifying is going to be happening in a little bit. I mean, what's been keeping you busy the past year or two? I mean, I know, you're still looking at potentially if, the right ride came along, going back to Cup. I mean, you've got a lot you can add to a team, I think, just talking with you up there, and the tower watching qualifying with the data and the knowledge you bring. I mean, what's the prospects for you?
I'm definitely entertaining the idea. I'm getting more and more calls about driving cars, so I'd love to get back behind the wheel. But like I said, the reason why I left when I did was, just want to be competitive. And in racing, everybody wants to be competitive. You're not going to be competitive every single week. But when you become not competitive, it's no fun anymore. So I needed to step away. And if a competitive opportunity arises, certainly I'll consider it and may step back into the seat. And, it may be in an Xfinity car or possibly a truck for one or two races or something to have some fun and get back at it. But, I enjoy all kinds of racing. It doesn't matter what it is, gas pedal and as long as it burns gas, I'm driving it or riding it. So, I love motorcycles, two-wheelers, and these cars.
You need to tell our friends at General Tire on the Continental side they need to get you in one of the prototypes, right? Go IMSA racing.
Yeah, I've done that. I ran the Rolex 24-hour race in 2004, long time ago. So I had a lot of fun doing that. Actually, I'm building a Lemons car right now. So I'm getting ready to go do a couple Lemons races.
What's the budget on those? Because I've heard like $500,000. You got to be going over that, I know already, right?
Yeah, well, the spirit of the rule is $500. So, I talk to most guys. Most guys have $8,000 to $10,000, $12,000 in a junker car. Because you got to be able to run for 16 hours. And it's like race prepping a vehicle to run 16 hours. You go get a wrecking yard car, you got some wheel bearings and some nuts and bolts and some things you have to do to get that car to run 16 hours. But we're looking forward to it. I'm building an old Ford car. I tried to find the ugliest thing I could find, kind of spirit of the rule. So it's going to be fun when I bring it out.
When are we looking at a debut for that? Because that's one of those, like, I got to think you going Lemons Racing, there's going to be a little bit of media around that.
Yeah, there's going to be. And, General Tire's involved with that a little bit. So, but we're targeting, this fall. So we're looking at some races in October. I think October they race in Sonoma at, out at Infineon Raceway in California. So I think I'm going to target that to be one of my first races. And then they race Road Atlanta in the fall, like November, December. So those will probably be my first two races.
I was going to say Sonoma. That's a track you know well, right? So if you're going to go, that'd be the proper one to break it in.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I actually did help the team out, and I drove some laps for them at Road Atlanta in December. Where they had an '83 Toyota Corolla. So, needless to say, it didn't make it very far, but I drove it some for them, and I had a great time. And that's the kind of racing. After that weekend and being around all the guys and help, get all the things together, I brought like all the radios and helped set the pits up. Those are the kinds of things that are fun for me, and that's back to like local Friday, Saturday night racing. That's where we all got started racing, right? So I enjoyed it the most.
Well, and that's something, you're in the pressure cooker of Cup. You've been in there for a long time, and it's stressful, and at some point, the fun factor's got to go away, right?
Yes, the fun factor's way gone. When you're in there, it is so tough and so much pressure. And to have an opportunity just to go back and fun race. Doesn't matter what happens. You're out there to have a good time, and you want to win. You put all the effort you can into it, but there's no pressure, and that's what makes racing fun.
Well, and he's talking with a lot of these Cup drivers now, and you got guys like Kyle Larson for one, and he goes and he's driving as much as he can, and it's to me it's got to be a little bit of a release to just be able to go to a short track in the middle of the week and not have to worry about the pressure of Cup.
It does. It actually takes your mind off, and I loved Xfinity racing because I could get in the car on Saturday, learn a bit about the track, and the pressure's off, and so that was sort of fun racing. You could get your racing fill by racing on Saturday, and then Sunday's all business.
All right, so we're out here at General Tire 150 again, but what's next for you after after we leave this weekend? What's next for Greg Biffle?
Well, I think I'm gonna get back to work on the Lemons car. It's been on the back burner for a little bit, so I got to get back at that. And we're making a trip to St. Anthony, Idaho, to the sand dunes out there, and a few trips for General Tire. We have some events coming up. We're going to Uwharrie National Forest back here in North Carolina, so looking forward to that. We're going to go test out the X3 a little bit, put it to the test. So me and some of my buddies are gearing up for that little excursion. So, lots of things coming up.
All right, that was Greg Biffle, and we will be back after this on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty radio show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it, so when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our Razor vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of Razor vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a Razor 170 like me, take the entire family out in a Razor XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new Razor XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris Razor. Check out the full Polaris Razor lineup at Polaris.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor. Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle in Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI. A 268 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI. It's not a sibling rivalry. It's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
It's more than just a slogan. Anywhere is possible with General Tire. General Tire's Grabber X3 mud terrain tire offers aggressive styling and is engineered for durability with innovative performance features that are ready to carry you through extreme mud, dirt, and rock-covered terrain. For extreme traction that's ready for anything and rugged styling to match, look no further than the Grabber X3 from General Tire. Make your anywhere possible by visiting GeneralTire.com today. General Tire, aggressive styling with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012. Hey, this is Jim Beaver, host of the Down and Dirty Radio Show. Getting down and dirty on the racetrack is all fun and games until it's time to get the dirt off. I know it all too well, which is why I partnered with MotoShield Pro, the leaders in nanotechnology solutions on the racetrack and in off-road to combat mud and dirt buildup on my vehicles. MotoShield Pro keeps us from taking unnecessary damage and spending extra energy on cleaning. No matter the weather or the surface, having proper protection on all my vehicles saves me plenty of reprep time in a sport where every second counts. Prep your vehicle like a pro. Learn more at MotoShieldPro.com.
Thanks for tuning in to the Down and Dirty Radio Show. Available live online, in syndication on networks across the U.S., and available internationally on the American Forces Network.
And we're back here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Continuing on with our mid-season recap and best of interviews, here is Vaughn Gittin Jr. How's everything going, Vaughn?
Hey! Good, my man. How are you?
Man, it has been far, far too long, buddy. I'm trying to think back. Like, I had you and Casey Curry on today, and I'm like, gosh, it's been like way too long since I've had both you guys on. Like once every 2 years, a year and a half. It's like it needs to stop.
I agree, man. I always enjoy chatting with you, and make it more often.
Yeah. So we got a lot to talk about with you, a lot to catch up on. But first off, we got to talk a little King of the Hammers before we get into a lot of your fun having. But I know Hammers, you and I, we've known each other about 5-6 years now. And I know back to the start, you'd always told me, like, I want to get involved in off-road somehow. I need to expand my brand, and you built like one of the raddest Broncos I think I've ever seen. I would say your Bronco is like on the competition side is rad, and then Lucy Block's Bronco that Ken built her. Like those two Broncos right there, like my life is made if I could have both of them in my garage.
Yeah, it is so badass.
But, I mean, you built, you call it Brocky, right? But, I mean, kind of take us through this like evolution. I mean, you're still so knee deep in Formula Drift. You're like shoulder deep in there. You're not leaving that anytime soon. But tell me about kind of this dabbling over into the off-road side of things you've been doing.
Yeah, for sure. Well, 2 years ago, 2016, I was actually wrapping up vacation with my wife, and Middo gave me a call, and I vividly remember this. I was literally still on the beach wrapping up my vacay. And they're like, are you interested to come to King of the Hammers and race? In the back of my mind, I'm like, holy shit, King of the Hammers, rock climbing, never even thought of driving a vehicle up a rock. Like, I've seen that, but yes, I'm in, So I showed up, and I jumped in a spec truck that was built by the crew at Jimmy's 4x4, and unfortunately had Lauren Healy, who's obviously a legend in that space and has been a great mentor to me, but he's in the passenger seat with me. And, I literally get there, and I jump in the truck, and we go to this old waterfall, right? And he's like, points at the waterfall. He's like, yeah, see that? And he's like, we're going to go up that. And I'm looking at this thing, right? And it's just straight up and down. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, funny, this is just like what you do with the rookies, joke with them, and and he's like, no, man, put it in low and drive up that thing. And so I put it in low and just start to attempt, going up this thing, and got hung up and backed up. And he told me what I did wrong. He's like, look, you need to keep the momentum. Gave me some feedback, and went right up it, and it would just kind of click. And I was like, oh. that's what these things can do, And so anyway, I did a little bit of training there. I had Bailey Cole, Dave's son, who runs Ultra 4. His son races, and he jumped in with me a bit, and we did a couple climbs. And the next day, I raced King of the Hammers in the 4,800 class, and finished top 10, and became, I think, the only, if not one of the only, ever crossover drivers to finish King of the Hammers. And the bug bit me a bit, and so I, during the year, I worked on some things and partnered up with a New Bright RC, and they wanted to build a cool RC car. So we talked about building a classic Bronco, and I hit up the crew at Jimmy's 4x4 because they built such a good, reliable truck that I raced the previous year. And that's where Brocky was born. I'd called them. I wanted to get my feet wet and go race the 4,800 class, which is not a pro class, but still competitive. And Randy at Jimmy said, well, look, I've got an idea. I've been wanting to build this independent front suspension chassis that fits the 4,500 class rules. And I was like, oh, perfect. I don't know anything. I'm like, that sounds cool. Let's do that. So, we built Brocky with the goal of debuting and running King of the Hammers in 2016. And, just doing some learning in the 4,500 class, which is still a pro class, but it's not quite the barrier to entry of the unlimited 4,400. Yeah. So, we had some growing pains in, that year in 2016 is a brand new truck. And, I qualified and signed up for the 4,500 race and the 4,400 race just to get some seat time. And the 4,500, we had some new truck blues. And then the 4,400, I did a big rookie move trying to pass a guy going up a hill on a wall, ran out of space and flipped over right in front of him like a Barney, just constantly learning, right? And so after Hammers, went to some other events, some dirt ride events, and did some learning, got the truck sorted, and we ended up showing up at Ultra 4 Nationals in Reno, and we did really well and got the win there, which was really amazing, showing the progress and the approach is working. And, so fast forward to just a couple weeks ago at King of the Hammers 2017, I flew in from New Zealand. I was over there for a week with Ford and our RTR distributor who's out there, and flew right in, landed, drove, jumped in the truck, got a little bit warmed up, and went out and we qualified, and ended up qualifying first for the 4,500 class, which was super exciting. Was not expecting that, but was very excited to be starting, and have a chance to be out of the dust, which is a key thought we'll get to in a moment. Spent a couple of days out there at Hammers getting ready for the race. I also qualified for the 4,400 because I wanted to get some more seat time if, the truck was still alive. Qualified like 26 out of 100 for that class. So, feeling pretty good about how things are working and our approach to things. And, come Thursday morning, the 4,500 race, we were fifth off the line. And we were just running at a really, nice pace. Everything was good, no rush. We had full race, and we were driving in some dust around mile marker number 7. And my co-driver, Glenn, he's just calling, we're talking on the radio. I'm like, you're driving for me. He's like, yep, got it, straight. And all of a sudden, we just boom, we hit this, what we believe to be a pretty big G out. That either a note was missed or we missed it while pre-running, or it just got dug out the previous races. I mean, you know how this goes out there. Yeah. So basically the truck hit the G out. The front, I thought the whole front end just completely was gone, but it turns out that at that point, I think we were just a little bit in the air. But basically the truck, the compression in the rear was so much, it rebounded and flipped us over. We did one full front flip, landed on the wheels, and unfortunately, my amazing co-driver for King of the Hammers, Glenn Donald, had hurt his back pretty good. So he ended up getting out of the truck and going and laying down on the side of the track, and he's yelling at me. He's like, "Vaughn, go, just finish the race." And I'm like, "No, man, no, I'm not leaving you in the middle of the desert, and and he's just like, I think it was a very, panic moment in general. But I was able to wave the TV crew down. They grabbed him, and he went to get checked out, and he's now back home. He's been home for a bit and handling some recovery, but is in good spirits. And definitely a real bummer all the way around. Was not how we envisioned anything to happen. But like I mentioned, we're driving in some dust. We're excited to not be in dust, and it ended up biting us. So quite a few things learned from that on a bunch of a lot of hindsight and discussion. So we'll just keep positive vibes to my man Glenn, and he'll heal up, and he's a super amazing rock crawler and a hobbyist and a really good guy. So he'll be back at it in no time.
Yeah. Well, that's good to know, because I know that was some questions swirling around social media, how he was doing. But, man, I mean, off-road, there's so many things, drift is the same way, but there's so many things in off-road that can take you out, whether it be car or a missed note or just randomness, it's such a gnarly sport, just every aspect of it. But, I mean, what's the biggest thing, like you coming over from drift? And I know you've done some road racing, I think with IMSA, right? But what's the biggest thing, the biggest change to your driving that you've had to learn, I mean, coming over from drift? I mean, it's had to have been just complete whirlwind. I mean, what's the biggest adjustment?
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that's cool that people like to hear is the similarities. And I'll definitely give you some of the differences. I think a lot of the similarities, I think all motorsport is very relative, and I hope people always ask, what's the best thing to do, and I always say, motocross. Motocross is the ultimate, throttle control, weight management, timing, everything you can learn
being
from.
able to read the terrain, too, I think is important. Being able to read the terrain depending on what, to predict and judge your riding style or driving style.
For sure. And, so for me, going from motocross to drifting, I've done a little bit of road racing here and there, but I think the big thing that is equal in anything that you do is, like, you got a steering wheel, you got 4 tires on the ground, you have a certain amount of grip, and you're just managing weight and how that weight works on whatever terrain or surface you're on. So for me, the big thing from drifting that helped was throttle control and the feeling of traction. We're sideways, feeling grip every moment, even though the tires are spinning at 30-40% faster than vehicle speed. So when you get in the rocks and you're in the dirt, you know how to get that traction down to keep the vehicle driving forward, which has been very helpful. I think the biggest adjustment or thing that's kind of contrary to what you see, right? I mean, when you watch trophy trucks or any of these off-road or desert racing, you just hear the engine screaming, going through the whoops, just wah, wah, it's wild and intense and aggressive. But the real trick to this is to not get sucked in by the attrition.
And that was Vaughn Gittin Jr. Starting off that interview, I know it got a little scratchy there towards the end, but we'll clean it up for the second part. More when we come back here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty radio show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it, so when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our Razor vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of Razor vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a Razor 170 like me, take the entire family out in a Razor XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new Razor XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris Razor. Check out the full Polaris Razor lineup at Polaris.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor.
Life is all about sound, the sound of sports, the sound of the racetrack.
and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Hey, this is Jim Beaver, host of the Down and Dirty Radio Show. Getting down and dirty on the racetrack is all fun and games until it's time to get the dirt off. I know it all too well, which is why I partnered with MotoShield Pro, the leaders in nanotechnology solutions on the racetrack and in off-road to combat mud and dirt buildup on my vehicles. MotoShield Pro keeps us from taking unnecessary damage and spending extra energy on cleaning. No matter the weather or the surface, having proper protection on all my vehicles saves me plenty of reprep time in a sport where every second counts. Prep your vehicle like a pro. Learn more at MotoShieldPro.com. When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob MacCachren, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out VisionWheel.com or at Vision Wheel on social media to learn more. Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle in Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
You're listening to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. All killer and no filler.
Welcome back here to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor, and we're continuing on with that interview with Vaughn Gittin Jr. All right, and we're back with more here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Amy Hood, Jim Beaver, and Vaughn Gittin Jr., and I know, Vaughn, Amy's got a couple of questions for you before we start jumping into Formula Drift. So I got no idea what's coming at you, buddy, but I know she's got something for you.
Well, no, I just
so I'm excited.
I just really wanted to pick your brain, and maybe this is even. I like to also educate our listeners, and just listening to you and kind of your jump from one motorsport discipline to the next. I'm kind of in this position right now where I am struggling with this, and I think it's honestly because of my two-wheel background. I do like to think that, yes, motocrossers, we are the most adaptable because we kind of faced with every problem or situation or solution in a moto setting. But going from 2 wheels to 4, I am very much challenged with this weight distribution and understanding weight distribution and understanding how the 4 tires work in a setting where, on a dirt bike, you just go rail or rut as fast and hard as possible and transfer that weight from, with your foot peg. And it really has not much to do with your tires. It's body weight. Well, when I'm in a 12,000-pound monster truck, my body weight does not matter. And I am very much struggling to find that how I can be in control of my 4 wheels when I'm in a racing setting. Don't get me wrong, I can sky wheelie and walk a wheelie across that path better than anybody, but I am having a hard time adjusting my racing technique that I have learned from 2 wheels to 4. Where do you find that, that brain switch? Where is it where you have to turn that aggressive riding style off, and how do you adjust? And I'm thinking monster trucks are very much more like Formula Drift, where, it's a flat surface. It's not, you're not really the same terrain as, say, a desert or off-road setting. I think the drift setting and a monster truck setting is more similar. Where is the difference? Where's the mindset? How do I adjust?
Sure. Yeah, so, that is definitely would be different for everyone, but my approach, so when I went from motocross, I was racing motocross at an amateur level, but playing around in a car at the same time, just going to industrial parks and playing. So that's how I really learned weight management of a vehicle. But now with my experience, to answer your question, I would look at it as, okay, so the way that you move your weight, right? So I always, when I tell people about driving a car, I tell them always visualize a pendulum like hanging from the middle of the car, right? And when you accelerate, that pendulum goes backwards. When you hit the brakes, that pendulum goes forward. So if you were to take your body on your dirt bike and pretend that's the pendulum, right? And when you're going into a turn, you're up on your gas tank, turned in, right? All your weight on the front. And then when you're coming out of that turn, you're gradually moving your weight to the rear to get the traction to the rear so that you can drive off the turn. So it's a very similar thing. It's a very similar thing with a four-wheel drive vehicle. So especially in the dirt, if you're on throttle, unless you're sideways, those things aren't turning. I don't care what you're in, you're not turning because a lot of them have anti-squat and a ton of grip in the back, and it overcomes the front. So whenever you're making a turning input, you need to make sure that your pendulum or your weight is on the wheels that need to react to you, right? So when you're in your monster truck, if you need to turn, you can't just, unless you're super aggressive and rotate it with the throttle, you need to, be on the brakes. I've never driven a monster truck, but you need to get the weight to the front so the front end can hook and then, it can turn. Obviously, if it's got a locker, it's not going to turn as nicely. But, I think for you need to, like what you would do with your body on your dirt bike, if you just started translating that to just weight moving in whatever vehicle that you're in, I think that, that would be helpful, right? Like when you're driving, visualize what you would do on your dirt bike, right? You're coming to a turn and you would be pushing up to the gas tank. Well, maybe now you're dabbing the brakes a bit, and then when you feel that thing starting to bite, then you can gradually get back on throttle till you're pointed at where you need to go.
I think I'm going to need to go buy a pendulum on eBay and have it hanging from
you have one, and it's in your butt. I mean, like it's your butt dyno. You know what I mean? Like you feel the weight, you feel it. You just. And that's the biggest thing and that's the timing thing, right? And that's a lot of things. A lot of things people struggle with is like they're trying to turn the vehicle while the pendulum is still like rear and left, and they wonder why it wants to go the opposite way. You have to work with the weight. You're never going to overcome the weight in a vehicle. It's always going to win. So you have to be, as smooth or as aggressive tossing it.
It's crazy how I can mentally know that. And, with a dirt bike, I feel like I'm in much more control. Like I put the bike where I want it to go. But when you jump to anything four wheels, that machine is very much in control, and you have to learn what it is going to do and how it's going to react. Where I'm used to woman handling my bike around and throwing it where I want to put it. So it's really cool and interesting to hear these people, and especially your background with drift and now off-road, because I think, it's like you said, there's everything relates to everything else. Like there's something you can learn, and even going from Dirtfish and, I got a little knowledge on, like you said, Cool Calm Collective and being patient. I've learned a lot of patience driving a four-wheel vehicle, but it's so cool and it's so interesting hearing other people's, strategy and the knowledge behind it and how I can adapt my driving style to that. So again, I just love hearing what other people have to offer. It's good.
Yeah, well, good luck and breathing is your best friend when it comes to being calm and focus on the job.
Yeah. So speaking of breathing, we got Formula Drift coming up, man. The kickoff, Long Beach. Not too far away. What are we, like 2 months out? But, shoot, you can't breathe much in an FD run, man. They happen, happen so quick. But, what are we looking at for the 2018 season? I've seen like a massive shift in Formula D in the past 2 or 3 years. And obviously, some of the guys like you and Forsberg are still at the top of your game. But there's such a new crop of drivers coming in that are challenging you guys. And that's got to be from a fan perspective, I think it's really exciting, but you from a driver perspective, man, how have you had to change your program to adapt? You guys are, constantly having to elevate every single year.
Yeah, it's actually kind of getting out of hand. It's gotten to the point where I don't even watch practice or competitors anymore because, you kind of forget that you're also doing the same thing, and it just looks so absurd. So I just kind of like live in my own world right now when I'm at the Formula Drift events. But it's a very exciting time in our sport. I love the growth of it, and the new drivers coming in, keeping everyone on the toes. I mean, you nailed it. I mean, 100%. There's new blood. There's new mindsets, and everybody is coming out swinging and keeping us that have been there since day one, on our toes. And you know what? Win, lose, or draw. If I have a good battle with somebody, I'm pumped on it. I'm pumped that the crowd got to experience it. And when one of these new guys, takes me out, when that happens, you would think I'd be mad, but I'm actually super pumped on it. It's obviously you don't ever want to lose, but you're really, proud of the effort. Like, what that means when someone shows up and gets that win. For instance, last year, I brought on Chelsea DeNova as a teammate. He's been a killer out there for a long time. And, now he's the first year being on he went from, 2016 being, team owner, driver, fixing his car, engineering his car, crashing his car, and to showing up to a professional, the RTR Motorsports team, and showing up and focusing on driving. And most of the year was a very much learning year, learning processes, learning how things go. And then we line up in Seattle, and he whooped my butt. It was definitely a very close battle, but in the end, the judges felt he won. And, here's a guy, same team, same car. The only different variable is the setup that we call for that run and the driver, and as a driver, you're like, I want to be the best, but for me, it was just so validating, and I was so proud of him. There was no ego, of course, a little bit. I was like, oh man, I lost, that sucks, but I lost in the same car, Yeah. But I was so proud of him and my team, and it's just like validation of what we're doing. And, for James Dean, to come over from Ireland, this kid's been dreaming of coming back to Formula D after, his, a 10-year hiatus. I forget James's age. I think he's 21 or 22.
Young. I can't remember, but he's super young.
He just waxed all of us. He waxed everyone. I didn't get the opportunity to battle him last year, and I really am looking forward to that because, I either want to beat him or I want him to beat me to seal how epic he's been just going through champions. But proud of the man. Like he put his passion together. He chased the business to make it happen. He showed up and executed. And this is, that's what champions are made of. And look, it takes one to know one, and you have to give the respect when somebody can do something like that, the level that we're running these days.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and I kind of, it's kind of awesome to hear you say that because I've talked to Forsberg and I think he very much feels the same way. That you guys are proud because you helped grow this sport. I mean, obviously, there's guys like, you talk to Ryan Sage and I mean, you guys are all like family, because you guys were there at the start from day one, but I feel like you guys all have a stake in the game with this sport to see where it's at today. And I think, like you said, it's validating. Like you guys are proud of where it's at, and to see these new guys come in, and it's you have such a personal investment into the sport of drift in the United States.
Yeah, for sure, man. And it's the sport's growing, attendance is up. I mean, it's just really exciting. Manufacturers are more and more getting involved. Obviously, I have a great relationship with Ford, and the Mustang is obviously the perfect vehicle for drift, but it's just spawned in a lot of other things, for myself with, obviously a lot of effort behind the scenes, but, it's just a great sport. It's accessible. And, if you're in town, first week of April, Long Beach downtown, it's a great vibe. It's great people. We'd love to have you out.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking at my schedule, and I know we've got the UTV World Championship the same weekend as the FD round there in Long Beach, and I got commitments in the
that's
UTV
probably
World.
Pretty important to you.
Yeah, but the next weekend, I'll be in Long Beach for like 4 or 5 days, but I know it's like the Super Drift Challenge, and I don't know if you're doing that or not. But it's like I'm gonna. I got to get out to one of the events this year for sure. Maybe Vegas. Maybe I'll fly. Sage and I were talking at SEMA, and he's like, Jimmy, you just got to come out to one. And I'm like, I know, my schedule's nuts.
You do, man. You do.
Yeah.
And hey, if you haven't, by the way, I don't know if you know, but we debuted. Obviously, I own and I'm the visionary of RTR. We make, we build turnkey Mustangs for the past few years, available at Ford dealerships. Well, we just debuted our F-150 muscle truck concept at SEMA, and that should be available later this year in Ford dealers. So you should definitely check that thing out. It's got a nice aggressive low and wide stance, but if you take it off a jump, the suspension falls out and we'll catch you nicely, and supercharged 5-liter, over 600 horsepower, and just a blast. It's not a Raptor, by no means the capability of a Raptor, but enough for someone to have a seriously good time.
Nice. Yeah, I saw it at SEMA, man. Thing was sick. We'll definitely have to keep in the loop. I know I'm going to make it out to one, man. Maybe we'll all bring the equipment and we'll just throw down some radio at your compound, like a live show or something like that. We'll make some fun out of it.
That sounds like a good time, and I definitely, I'll catch up with you here soon about that Star Car opportunity you have going on. That sounds, as a professional fun haver, I'm always down for a good time and a challenge. So
yeah,
I'm into it.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to. We'll have to figure something out. We got Vegas to Reno coming up, and that's like a 500 miler, so we could throw you in there for a couple 100 miles. So
that sounds like a good time.
Yeah, we'll figure it out, man. I'll give you a shout sometime soon. But great having you on air, buddy. Take care. Tell your wife hey, and we'll chat soon. Awesome catching up with Vaughn Gittin Jr. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back to wrap things up here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. You want extreme performance, reliability, and the most fun you can have on four wheels? The Polaris RZR brings it to you. But you don't need to take my word for it. You can take theirs.
I'm Tanner Faust, and I choose the Polaris RZR because it's the most fun you can have with a steering wheel.
What's up? I'm Ronnie Renner, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the sickest, most reliable side-by-side on the planet.
What's up, everybody? Heavy D from Diesel Brothers. Listen, I'm on Team RZR because it's hands down the best piece of machinery on the planet.
I'm RJ Anderson, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the most fun, most capable machine.
Action sports stars, TV personalities, and some of the best ultimate combination of power, suspension, agility, and fun. Find out more information on the web at PolarisRZR.com or follow at Polaris RZR on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and use the hashtag RZRLife to share your story.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI. A 268-horsepower, turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305-horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI. It's not a sibling rivalry. It's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle in Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
Life is all about sound. The sound of sports. The sound at the racetrack. And the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Anywhere is possible. It's more than just a slogan. Anywhere is possible with General Tire's wide variety of tires for whatever it is that you drive. Whether you're looking for off-road capability balanced with impressive on-road performance or ultra-high performance offering all-season traction designed with a driving enthusiast in mind, General Tire has what you need to get where you're going. General Tire, providing anywhere is possible with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012.
Thanks for tuning in to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, available live online, in syndication on networks across the U.S., and available internationally on the American Forces Network.
All right, we're back here to wrap things up here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Yeah, fun show today. Big desert racing news. Don't forget, head over to facebook.com/groups/JimBeaver15. We've got that PR from Ultra 4 on that invitational. Mint 400 got some big news. You can check it out on their website as well. Lots of good stuff. I know next week on air, we've already got Sarah Price booked. Looks like possibly Michael Meister, your Super Buggy points leader in Lucas Oil, heading into Bark River. Also got working on possible IndyCar driver and maybe Dave Cole. So big show lining up for next week already. It will be a Wednesday show for you online listeners. I will be doing voiceovers for television Monday and Tuesday in SoCal. So delaying the show by a day. Make sure and head over to downanddirtyshow.com for all the updates. Subscribe on iTunes to Down and Dirty Show and Project Action. Leave a rating or review as well, but be watching for those daily drops as we drop them. Also at Dirtfish, don't forget Antron and Steve. They're up there at Dirtfish having some fun. Watch for some content coming out of there. My man, my good friend Steve Arpin, he's giving away a trip to the Dirtfish Rallycross there at COTA for ARX. So if you want a free trip to Circuit of the Americas to hang out with Steve Arpin and Ken Block, I guess, and get a free Yeti cooler or something, head over to Steve Arpin's social media and check that out. Upcoming events, we got Lucas there at Midwest Short Course League at Bark River, Vegas to Reno coming up. I'll be at both, racing at Vegas to Reno. Be watching for big news coming out of that. So lots coming up. Big shout out to Polaris Razor, General Tire, Subaru, Vision Wheel, Casey Highlights, Gibson Exhaust, Dirtfish, Optimus Starters, Moto Shield Pro, and the Blue Water Resort and Casino. It's at JimBeaver15. If you're looking for a Dirtfish coupon code, it's JB Dirtfish for 15% off at Dirtfish Rally School. We'll see you guys next week. Be safe. As always, game on.